What's up, friend? This is Tattoo Shop Talk, weekly web show about random chit-chats and conversations that usually happens in tattoo and piercing shops, and we bringing them to you via this medium of YouTube and global network. If you are body art enthusiast, stick around, because today we will talk about learning stuff. Learning the good way, learning the long way, and maybe learning the wrong way. Coming up! Today, this is me, the talkative Juris, and less
Not
talkative, not so talkative Janis, who happens to be a tattoo artist. If you want to see full talk with this guy, click the link, pim pam pum pum, somewhere there. So we will talk about learning tattooing, and this gentleman has been around tattooing for a while. He took the long way of learning stuff, learning on his own. But last year, I think it's last year,
Last year.
they got apprentice in their shop. So we will talk how he did stuff, how apprentice is doing, and what's kind of ups and downs of each way doing it, and what's kind of fair use of apprentice. So full story is somewhere in the corner here. Quickly, what's the long way of learning tattooing?
In my case, the longer way was learning it by myself. 'Cause I didn't know anyone except you involved in tattooing. There was no YouTube.
What?
And I was shy enough not to ask anyone. So I kind of tried to figure it out on my own. It definitely took me like way longer than I think anyone
So how long
is learning now.
it took from when you're like, okay, I'll kind of try tattooing, this is the shit I want to do, till where you're like, okay, this is okay what I'm doing.
I mean,
Like more or less comfortable.
I mean, it was up and down every time you try to tattoo, 'cause like when there's a moment when you think, oh, finally, it's starting to look like something. You have this confidence and everything, and then the next tattoo you do is like, why it's not going as well as the previous one, and you don't know anything you're doing wrong, because there's no one telling you or no one saying what's wrong, and then you just start to figure it all again, and I think that's the thing, because even if you tattoo like 15 or 20 years, you still learn every day, because every person is different. But in the case when I was like starting to tattoo, it was just like every tool you got, it changed everything you knew about tattooing instantly, So.
But roughly from oh shit, what's going on till like I roughly have idea what's happening. How
No,
long?
I don't think I had like this. At least I don't remember any of those like panic cases when I'm doing something like, fuck, I'm really screwing this up, I knew how to draw, which was like the good thing, Even if you fuck up technically pretty okay drawing, then it's easy to, repair it. I remember, like when I started tattooing, it all started out with like homemade machines, like jail stuff and, not particularly jail stuff, but looked like jail
DIY.
stuff. Yeah, DIY stuff made by him. And first couple machines were like that, and it was like both of them, worked differently. So when I got the other one, I started to learn again, because you have to change everything you knew. And then I remember the first time when I tried tattooing with real tattoo machine, my first impression was like, fuck, this is way more difficult than the DIY stuff.
How long it was till your first tattoo machine?
What?
When did you get your? It was like 2 years till first tattoo machine, or something.
Yeah, I mean, I was tattooing for the first couple years with like that homemade stuff, and I don't know if you can actually like talk about it as a proper tattooing. It's just experimenting with friends.
Yeah.
And I got my first Mickey Sharp Dial tattoo machine like 2.5 years after I started just doing anything with that, with the homemade stuff, and then I had that Mickey Sharp's machine in my shelf for like 1.5 year because I didn't know what to do with it, and I just had this like stupid impression that when I went to a tattoo shop and ordered the tattoo machine, when they called me, you can come and pick up the tattoo machine. I had like a bunch of my friends with me whom I told, oh, we're gonna do some tattoos, this evening. And then they gave me like the thing that is actually a tattoo machine. So it was like, what is this? I put it in my shelf and that's it,
So we were in such a vacuum of information,
Yeah,
and we
definitely.
didn't even know what's tattoo machine and what's full set of the thing.
Yeah, maybe it was kind of my own mistake, because I didn't go and ask anyone, I was just thinking like, who am I to go to talk to any tattooer, to any tattoo shop and ask for advice? Like, why should they help me?
But also, like, it was kind of, nobody felt bad about the DIY stuff because all the tattooists we heard of or we knew, they all started with like DIY machines.
Yeah, probably.
It wasn't like, oh, I'm fucking stuff up here. It was like everyone started like that.
No, I still remember the first tattoo like it was yesterday.
Yeah. But
And-
it seemed like, that this is okay.
Yeah, that's the thing, because I think, like, at some of the interviews we talked about why I actually started tattooing, there's no real explanation, it's just like
It just
excitement of something new. But I think that probably if I would do the first tattoo and I would completely fuck it up, I don't know, like, what would happen. It's probably not gonna, go on. But it was pretty okay, but still, I kinda, yeah, I had the idea that, I'm gonna learn by myself, so
Okay.
it was a long trip then.
Long way. Your apprentice, does he had before
Yeah,
he had experience.
he had
all over-
experience with tattooing. I actually don't know particularly did he do any of like like homemade tattoo machine thing, but I think he actually like the first machine he got was like actually like a kit from eBay or something like that, and I think he tattooed only himself at the beginning,
Oh, okay.
which was a positive thing,
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
not
That's,
using the same needle for all his friends and all that stuff.
What's the responsible? That's
Yeah,
the
yeah,
word.
yeah, responsible. Yeah, that was of course a big plus, and but still, like when he came to us, like it wasn't instantly about tattooing, because we had to go back and start with the drawing, and that's like the fundamental of all of that stuff. So
And that's the basic that you already had because you had.
yeah, because
Experience.
I mean, I had no clue what a tattoo looks like. Like what's the difference between like a simple drawing and a tattoo design? Because sometimes people think that's completely the same. That any drawing is a tattoo design, but it's actually completely not like that. That's a problem in tattoo shops a lot. When people bring a photo, like I like this one, and you somehow have to explain to them that it's not gonna look good on skin like that.
Or the size.
Or the size or whatever. It's not like any drawing is a good tattoo.
Things you had to figure out on your own, and the first things you learned. So how long it took you to be like, okay, this works in tattooing, and then the machine and all that. So that's probably the stuff you start with.
I mean, it's probably right. It would be right to talk from the moment when I started using real tattoo machines.
Yeah.
Because before that, it's just every time is different. But when I got I remember the first problem. The first instant problem was I didn't know what the length of the needle, like going out of the tip, should be and all that stuff. So I remember the first problem when I tried it out on myself was that like there was no ink flow, there was no ink coming out. Like what? I didn't know. And then I figured out that I wasn't using the rubber bands.
Okay.
It's like, okay, because I saw just in some photos that they use the rubber bands. Like, okay, that's a thing, and that's also a thing. Like when I it was before the real tattoo machine. It was like with the homemade stuff, because I didn't know that you had to use Vaseline, for example. So I just saw it in a magazine, because like I was tattooing just like that, and it didn't feel right, But then I was just like looking at it was like a book about like tattooing history or something like that, and then I saw like some Russian guys tattooing at home in a picture, and I saw a bottle of like Vaseline or something, like, oh, maybe that's the stuff they put before, doing all that. So I tried it. I was like, whoa, it's a new discovery. So for me, tattooing is like you learn something new every week, every second week. It wasn't like a compact block of information. It was like a small part information time after time.
I'm now like kind of shocked. I'm like, oh shit, that was that, but I didn't know that. It was like, okay. You took the long way, and you have apprentice. So all the basics, like
It's
roughly.
not particularly me.
Yeah,
It's
well,
not like, the shop.
the shop. Yeah. It's not your apprentice; it's the
Yeah.
shop's apprentice. But let's say
Which sounds probably
rough,
wrong.
rough imaginary basics. Yeah, this is not instruction video. This is
Yeah.
talk about that stuff. So rough basics. How long it takes for apprentice roughly to get into stuff, to know all the little tips and tricks and how to.
I think mostly it depends on the personality and the desire, on like the capability of like gathering the information.
Yeah, but you start with something and you take
Yeah,
it step
and
by step.
it also depends on what is like the things he knows, or she knows, whatever, So, in his case, he knew like basically the fundamentals of like technical aspect of tattooing, all of that, like where the needle goes and what.
Yeah, and also because there's no internet, so people
Yeah,
can
exactly.
look it up, that stuff. They don't have
and
to
he
figure it.
he knew how to draw, but like when we were searching for apprentice, we actually said that like we're not looking for a person who has already some experience in tattooing. It's not a factor,
Yeah.
It's a plus, but it's not like the most important factor, So
I also heard that, but that's from the shops, like on internet. I've seen on some shows and all that one. They see it even as a minus if somebody have tried tattooing, because they're like, oh, you've been one of them fuckers who did home tattooing and all that shit. But
well,
I think you can't avoid that now.
yeah, I mean, I don't know about everything he has done, but the stuff he has done before coming to us, it's not like he fucked up someone, It's a pretty decent stuff, It's not like in our case, you have to start worrying when you realize that the person does not know how to draw at all, because it's possible to teach someone, I think, the technical capability of making tattoos, but I don't know how can you like teach someone to draw from complete zero.
What about tracing?
Tracing is one thing. Well, maybe you can learn from tracing, yeah, but I mean, still, you're not gonna get to even trying to tattoo someone while you're not capable of drawing something up without tracing.
So what would be bare minimum of drawing? 3 things to draw.
I don't know. Of course, you have to have some understanding of what a tattoo design is, because we had so many people apply for the apprentice spot, and like all these people send some portfolios and some stuff, and there was some people who had some drawings, and you just look at them and like he's not gonna be able to change his drawing style into something usable for tattooing. maybe I'm wrong. I don't know, but I don't know if we have like the nerve and the patience to like spend like 4 or 5 years, teaching someone how to draw.
Yeah, that's also like another skill. So it's like
Yeah.
that's your
I've-
problem, not the shop's problem.
Yeah, I've heard like really good tattooers nowadays who told me that they actually learned how to draw by freehanding some tattoos when the stencil went off and stuff like that.
I know some tattooists. I'm now thinking of one in particular who was really proud of like, I'm not drawing anything, I'm just copying shit.
Yeah, I also know
And
a guy like that.
he was like, but he wasn't that good. But then like you see some years later, he's like, oh, practicing
you can-
drawing. There's
yeah,
my
yeah,
sketch. So, but they still reach some point where they're like, okay, now I need to learn.
Yeah. Practice makes perfect sometimes. Rarely. But in this case, yeah, I don't know if like any of us have like that much of a time to teach someone to draw.
And also the hygiene and safety aspects, like, I mean, even in home tattooing times, we were looking up like all ways of sterilizing, and you had that weird sterilizer with the
Yeah.
balls and stuff. But like when you go in the shop, like that's all the information that's probably first thing you do as apprentice. You get like shown stuff, and then you know how to clean stuff, because
Yeah.
like you set up stations, you break stations down, you clean tubes, or if it's disposable, then it's that stuff, or if there's autoclave, so you learn all that stuff, because even to like
Yeah, of course.
autoclave was like a magic, because it wasn't even a standard in Latvia. Like, I don't think it is still now. It was just some sort of sterilizer unit.
Yeah, because like our apprentice Daniel, basically the first things he had to do when he came to us, he was like drawing a lot. We like gave him some exercises and stuff to draw, and he had to, he helped us out with like all the tube cleaning and sterilizing, all that stuff, So basically, yeah, like the hygiene was the first thing, we told him that was like the first thing he had to do
before he touches skin or
Yeah.
anything. And that's a serious shit as well.
Yeah, of course. But I'm surprised, because it's been less than a year, and he, already does good tattoos, But of course, you have to keep in mind that he had like some previous experience, and it's not like that was the main thing why we took him, It was because of the personality, and it was like just a mixture of like good things,
Cool. So that was the long way is you.
Yeah.
Your apprentice is the good way.
Yeah.
What would be the wrong way of learning tattooing? Let me say one.
Yeah.
If you are watching this thing and you think, I'm gonna learn some shit now for tattooing, probably not that much. Like, you can't learn from reading stuff on forums, watching YouTube videos, stuff like that. You can
No, you can
You can
you can read, you can learn from them, but when you already have some knowledge about tattooing.
Yeah, I think that's maybe you can learn, but there's difference between practicing and learning.
Yeah.
So like if you learn some stuff from YouTube and then you just practicing it, you don't know what's right or wrong. So you might have your own opinion about it and stuff like that. So I think that always should be someone with experience who can look over you.
Mm.
And even if it's not like apprenticeship or something, like, I always say like one way to learn is like getting tattoos. Like,
Definitely.
obviously if you get on with tattooists, because then you can see what's happening, and if you are in a good relationships, you can ask questions and you get some answers. But that
Yeah, but
thing
I-
where
but
you
I-
like, I just see people expecting like a lot from some videos, and they're like, oh, this will teach
Yeah, but
me.
I know, for example, that, like someone who has seen like hundreds of tattoos being done, and then he tries it out for once, and he's like, I don't understand how you do it, you know. So I don't know.
That's the thing. You cannot learn just by
Yeah.
looking.
There's a big difference, like when you're learning something when you haven't tried anything, and when you're reading or looking at something when you tried something, you know, already at least a little bit of tattooing, you know.
Any one of you out there, if you tried to learn tattooing, what was the first thing that struck you that it's like, oh, this is a bit harder than I expected?
Yeah, because when I was reading all the info about learning tattoo, everything seemed way easier than it was in reality. I think so. I had enough stupid friends around me on whom I practiced, you know. I mean, the fake skin nowadays, you know, that you can have for practicing tattooing. Of course, it's not like a real thing, but I still think you can actually learn a lot from that. You know, because like that was never an option for me, because at first, like, I didn't know about existence of such thing, or
If it was there.
if it was there like 15 years ago. I don't know actually, but also, you know, there are some people who are actually going to markets and buying like pig skin and trying it out. But like when I started tattooing, I was already a vegetarian, so that option was not okay for me, you know. So I basically started out on friends.
Being food-wise very open-minded, I still think that's disgusting.
Yeah, probably, yeah.
Um,
I've been around people who done it, and I think it feels a little bit more real than the fake skin, but
well, Danny the other day said that fake skin feels more real than the pork situation.
me?
No,
I
Danny said.
Danny, yeah. Pff, I don't know, it depends.
And speaking of that, like I've been told always, like fake skin is just to practice kind of basics to see how machine feels and maybe some movements and stuff like that. And then you have to do on yourself or on your friends and all that. And it made sense for me then. But now, last couple of days when you've been around, you said, okay, let's try some stuff. And when there's somebody who can overlook what's going on and explain, like, you know, maybe you should do a bit different this line or that shading from that side, that's where it's super helpful. Like,
I mean, with Daniel at our shop, I think one of the best things we actually like figured it out was that I asked him, you know, to do like a sketch of a tattoo, like a particular sketch that someone wants, like some of his friends or something, you know. For example, like his friend wants like a rose design. So I said to him, like, do a design, you know, I'll maybe make some, you know, changes and stuff like that, and then draw it again, draw it over and over. Then you do the same exact tattoo on the fake skin till you get it right, till you understand how you're gonna actually do it for real, you know, because it's better to like freak out on a fake skin than when you're like starting to do the first lines, or you do the lines okay and then you start shading and you realize I don't know what should I do next, you know, what's my arm movement should be like or something like that. So I mean, do the stuff on the fake skin over and over, like do it 2 times 3 times till you get it right in your head, you know. Of course it's going to be different on the real skin, but I think probably there are a lot of people who think like the fake skin is like complete bullshit, you know, it's not worth it, you know, it's like whatever, you know. But I actually really think that like if you go through these steps before actually tattooing a person, like with the design they want, you know, you go from the drawing to the fake skin, then to actual person, I think you're like 10 times more ready, and you're not gonna be in this like, I don't know, like crisis situation, panic attack or whatever, you know. So I think like last couple of days, you know, I've been showing some stuff to you, you know, and I think one of the most important things for which the fake skin can be used is actually shading. Because, like, when you're using magnum needles, and you're really new to a tattoo thing, you don't understand that, like, it's the direction that the needle should go is like one of the most important things, and that's the stuff you learn on the fake skin really good. You learn how to put your arm, like how to hold the machine, and I think that's
also,
that's
you
where
can
the
see very good word when.
kind of yeah, of course, it's like smooth shading is really hard to get on a fake skin, but still you can get the feeling and you get the idea, so you will be ready, so
Amen.
yeah.
Amen to the fake skin. And in my opinion, I think for me, I learned a lot in these few days tattooing that fake skin. But I think if there wouldn't be someone like you, when you showed in like that style, what's the things, I would obviously, it wouldn't harm me to practice.
Yeah.
But it's so much better when somebody can say like.
I think we're 7 tattooers at our shop. And it's like there's Daniel, who's the apprentice, and you have so many people around you, and all of these things, he grasped like 50 times faster than I did. Because there's someone just like behind your back saying, what you should do, and that's the big difference. Like when you learn to do stuff the way that I did, I don't actually think it's probably possible nowadays to learn it the way I learned it.
Yeah.
And there's a thing, that I was figuring out for like 2 years. That's something that new tattooers learn in like 2 days.
Many people say that, like, from the old timers with books and magazines, they say what took you 2 years, it takes 2 months for like all the new generation.
Setting up the station, breaking out the station, I learned it like week by week,
Or like the guy in Spain I talked with, he said he bought everything for tattooing. And like, okay, I'll start tattoo. Bought a book. I'm like, oh, autoclave. Okay. So he need to save up like few months more. Then he bought autoclaves. Like, okay, now I can do something.
Yeah.
Just even the very basic. And now it's obviously that information is out there, but it's also you have to know how to use it, because you can take many things wrong without supervision of professionals. Huh?
I bought a book I got a book from Unimax Supply, and I don't remember who the author was, but I also remember that it was like ABC of tattooing, I was reading it, and I didn't understand like 50% of it,
I remember we had to figure out what's green soap.
And yeah, stuff like that, like
Palmolive? No.
Yeah, it's like you can't read it. You read the instructions. How should you do that and that? It's like, what's that stuff? And what's that name?
And also it's like English to Latvian, American English to Latvian, and like, do we have the products? Are they called the same? Are they?
And it was 2005. Like, I exactly remember, or 2004 actually. No, 2005. And I still haven't tried YouTube out.
Yeah, well, that was like YouTube kicked off with 2 girls, 1 cup.
Yeah.
So
I still haven't seen it, and I will hopefully never.
Google. That's good stuff. Long way of learning anything is learning on your own. Wrong way is expecting that just reading.
That you're gonna be good instantly.
Yeah, and just by reading some stuff, you will grasp like, oh, I get this stuff. Because there's so many things that can go wrong, and the best way is always apprenticeship.
Yes.
So wrong, long, and hard way. You, my friend, if you consider learn tattooing, what's your way to go? If you're already learning, what are you doing? What's your ways of learning? And what's the wrong shit? Tell us, warn other people. Leave comments below. hit that subscribe button. Buy our merch. Oh.
We have some merch.
Rigas Tinte t-shirts. Check the webpage. Rigas Tinte
.lv.
LV. They're always good. Every time they make a shit t-shirt, I'm like, oh, this is the best thing I've seen. And then they make next one, and you're like, okay, even better. Check them boys out. All sorts of styles, all sorts of people, and even apprentice. Come on. Give them some love. Bye-bye.